insignia.
Yeah.
Very good.
And just
All right. All right, good afternoon to all our participants. Good afternoon to Dr. Cayetano and Dr. Samuel, who will be co-hosting this webinar. I am very honored and pleased to introduce Mrs. Kimberly Parker Fraser. She is the psychometrist at Mental Health Services. So she's responsible for all our testing and intake needs. She's also one of our intrepid psychosocial group leaders. She is a member of our crisis intervention team. She has been working with the service for a very long time. I remember her distinctly as a student, and now here she is as my right hand. I often thank her when I do my presentations because she's the genius behind all my wonderful PowerPoints. And now it's so wonderful to have her present one of her creations. So with no further ado, I introduce Mrs. Parker Fraser as she presents on effective strategies for working from home.
thank you very much, Dr. Rubain. So as she said, today I will be talking about the effective strategies from working from home. So some of the objectives that we're going to cover is knowing why, understanding why you're working from home, some of the strategies that you can implement while working from home to be effective, and also just summarize at the end. So knowing your why. So for the past few years, we've had some different major events happening and we had to do some adjustments. So working from home is one of the adjustments that we had to make for this COVID-19 pandemic. So it's very important to understand and fully understand the reason why you're working from home. Although it might seem simple, working from home can pose different challenges. So know whether it's the COVID-19 pandemic while you're working from home, Hurricane Irma or Maria, you're self-employed, there are different health issues, or there are renovations being done to the workplace. All of this helps you to put things in perspective when dealing with issues that may arise from working from home, different challenges that come up. It's also important to understand whether your situation is temporary or permanent. Am I working from home for maybe just 6 months or a year? Or is this something more permanent? I'll be here working from home for a longer period of time. It's also important to explore the possibilities or your options. Yes, I'm working from home, but is there an option that sometimes I go into the office and work there? Or is there options that maybe I work from another space or other location? Or like I sometimes do work from other partner agency, a sister agency that we work along with. Sometimes I go there and utilize the space. So it's important to know why you're working from home, whether it's temporary or permanent, and what are your options. Is there any flexibility with your work from home schedule? So this is just a little scenario. How do I move this? Okay. Just a scenario that I will read. I lay in my bed as the alarm on my phone goes off, wondering if I really must get up. I snooze the alarm and return to sleep, only to be awakened by my other alarms, to which I have yet to find the snooze button. I roll out of bed later than usual and continue with my morning routine. However, I find myself moving at a slower rate than I usually do. I soon realize that although I'm working from home, my alarm clocks need to be at school on time. I pick up the pace and get them ready. Searching for this and packing for that, I hurry them off to their respective schools. I return to a home that almost seems not to be mine. When did this mess happen? I must get to work, but first I need to eat my breakfast and, oh yes, take that much needed shower. I don't feel like dressing the part today, so I'll just wear my regular clothes. Oh man, this house is really in a mess. I can't leave it like this. Since I'm cleaning, might as well I wash a load of clothes while I work. It's I finally sit on my bed to start my day. No, wait, is that the time? It's 12 o'clock already. What am I going to eat for lunch? I'll eat and complete this report one time. Well, I'm feeling sleepy. Maybe I should take a little break and lie down for a while. The 3:30 alarm goes off. It's time to pick up the children from school. Well, there ends my work day. What have I really accomplished? So this is just a general scenario of how your day, work from home day, can go without any structure or implementing any strategies. You find that the day goes by and you haven't really accomplished what you need to accomplish work-wise. So we're gonna just discuss some strategies that you can implement to prevent a day like that from happening. So the first thing you'll do is creating a work environment. It is important to create a functional and efficient work environment at home. So what does this usually look like? It can mean different things for people. Your work environment at home or your workstation can resemble what you used to have at the office, or it can even be better. This can pose a problem or a challenge for different people, but we all have different living arrangements and our space. Some have apartments, some have their own homes. Sometimes we share a space, we have children, or the space is not as big. And some people might have the opportunity to even have a work from home office. But it's up to us to create a workstation that works for us. Ensure that we have our table or chair. Ensure that we're comfortable, not like the person sitting on the bed to get too comfortable. Ensure it's properly lit, it has limited distractions, and you have access to all that you need, whether your computer, your laptop, any paper, any files, any documents that you know you're going to need. And it's important to personalize your workspace. Make it yours, just like how you do at work. You can decorate pictures or put any stuff that makes it yours and give you the motivation to sit there and do your work. And most importantly, dress the part. This also encourages you and reminds you that you are working from, although you're home, you're working from home. So this motivates you to get the work done. Some resources might be limited because you're working from home or not available. It's important to try to improvise and work around what you need, or simply just plan ahead and get it done. If you need something, you try to reach out a couple of days before, I need this for this day, and just see if it can be arranged. So some do's and don'ts when creating your workspace at home. As I said before, choose a location that's best for you. Everyone's space is different. You have to assess your living situation and make a decision on which space is best for you. For me, my work from home space is a little corner in my living room, and I assess that to be the best space. It might not be ideal for everyone, but for me, it works. It's important to keep it organized and tidy. This helps you to get your work done, be able to find what you need, and effectively carry out whatever tasks you have to do. Have all the necessary tools readily and available. This avoids you getting up, going to look for this, or having to call someone and say you need this. So this all requires, as I said, call ahead and get things done that you need, or get things that you need. So when you do start, you have all that you need. Always utilize your station to do your work. So you created a nice workstation at home. It is important that you sit at that station whenever you have to do any work. Try avoid going on your bed, on your couch. This is your workstation. Utilize it and it will help you become more effective. And once again, show up dressed and on time. This promotes you to be able to have the mindset that you're working from home, but you still have to be dressed in order to carry out your work. Some don'ts. Don't create a workstation in your bedroom, on a couch, close to your TV, or in the kitchen. So as I said before, my workstation is in the living room, and that works for me. But it's in direct view of my TV, but I have no choice. So I have to find different strategies like hide the remote or put it in another room that would avoid me from just clicking on the TV and trying to do two things at one time, because one is going to overpower the other. But as I said, if you have no other choice, then you have to utilize some of these spaces to create your workstation. Don't allow children to use your workstation. I try to keep my kids out of my station. Don't go in this corner. It's kind of hard because this was once their play corner. Now I turned it into a workstation. So we try to avoid the children using your station, because they might take important documents and use it as craft, write up on it, or destroy stuff. Don't leave important paperwork or documents visible. Although you're working from home, you still have to maintain that confidentiality with different documents that you're dealing with. So if you have a desk or drawer, it's important that if it has a key and you can lock it, you lock it up, or at a certain time you return certain documents to the office where it can be more secure. So you utilize the documents when you need it and then return it so that all confidentiality would not be an issue. Create a schedule and plan ahead. Whether you're working from your home or your office, it's important to create a structure. This schedule or plan helps you to create structure for your day. And structure is a very important way to be effective. So I have a 3-year-old daughter, and through this pandemic, we've had to be quarantined or we had to be on lockdown. So I found that for a very long time, she would ask me, Mommy, when I go to sleep and I wake up, am I going to school or am I staying home? So I would always be like, what does it matter? So I guess in her head, she had to mentally prepare or structure herself. And when she gets up, she might be going to school or she might be staying home, so she can know ahead of time, because things kind of was changing at that time. So it's kind of important that you create that structure, create your mindset of what it is you're going to do the next day, planning ahead so that when you do wake up, you know exactly what it is you have on your schedule to do. And this helps, well, developing a working mindset. Some days might definitely need more motivation than others. Like the person in the scenario I was reading, it's hard to get up sometimes, but you have to push forward. That maintaining your regular morning routine also helps keep that mindset and keep you going as if you're actually going to the office. So it's important to create a to-do list. Write all the things that you have to accomplish that day or you need to accomplish. And it's important to be realistic in what you can accomplish each day. So not because you put 10 things down on a list, that means that you're going to try to accomplish all of those 10 things that same day. So you just make a list of what you need to do, and just try to be realistic with what it is that you can achieve on that particular day, knowing that there'll be different challenges or limitations to what you can do. Keep a diary and write down appointments and other important things. Sometimes we think that we're going to remember things, but we don't. We have a lot going on at home, out of home, around us, and we're humans. We're not going to remember everything. So keeping a diary and writing down appointments help us to be able to have effective work days, knowing exactly what we need to do and at what time we need to do this. Be mindful of your work hours and stick with it. Whether you work from 4:30 to 8:30 to 4:30, or if working from home, the hours adjust or shift a little bit, just be mindful of the hours that you have to work. And also be mindful that somehow when you're working from home, time seems to go quicker than when you're in the office for some reason. Be able to adjust and be flexible. Not everything is going to go according to plan. Things come up, emergencies happen. So be able to work with the flow and adjust your schedule or on to the next thing that needs to be done on your to-do list if a problem poses for one thing. Okay, so a workday to-do list. There's an appropriate list and an inappropriate list. So on the appropriate list, we have to call the office to check in, respond to emails, client meeting at 10 a.m., type a report, call client at 1 a.m., you have a meeting at 3 p.m., and to create a to-do list for the next day. So it's important to create a list that pertains to work-related items, work-related things. An important thing to do is also try to put a time limit on each thing, that when you're going to start it, and leave enough time in between before moving on to the next task. And as I said before, things come up and things might change and your to-do list might shift. You mightn't be able to accomplish some things, but be flexible and be able to move on to the next. An inappropriate list would include eating breakfast, go grocery shopping, respond to emails, wash some clothes, or yeah, I gotta clean that fridge, all those clothes I just washed. And yeah, let's call that client now, since I have some free time. So this list would be inappropriate because most of the stuff on the list does not pertain to the job that you're getting paid to do. So this can be a list on the side that you can do probably on the weekends, after work, or before you start your schedule. And some people's work schedule might be able to accomplish all they want to do ahead of their time, and then you can make reference to this other schedule after you've completed all that you need to do for work. Okay, so stay connected. You can develop a feeling of disconnect, like they say, out of sight, out of mind. So being away from the office can make you feel like you're not a part of the team or the group anymore. So what you can do is have regular check-ins via email or WhatsApp, telephone call, or even face-to-face when possible. This is just to let them know that, hey, I'm still alive, I'm still working, remember me. You can also call and let them know what your plans are for today. So when you do call in to check in, I'm working on this report, I'm going to see this client today, just so that they can know exactly what you're doing or where you are in case anything is needed. It's important to also follow up on emails and messages sent to you while working from home. And you try to respond back to these, in a timely manner.
Yeah. Come on, let's go and go for the family meeting.
Yeah, okay. So also get involved in office projects or events. So when you call in or when you go in and visit, you just check up, is there any events going on, any projects, any help that I can provide on anything that is going on? This helps you feel not as much disconnected from the team as you would. And when working from home, it's also important to communicate different challenges that you might have. As I said, things mightn't go as planned as always. Something might come up, but it's important to relay these challenges to whoever you're working with or your team in a timely manner so that arrangements can be made for someone else to assist or other option. Okay, so take regular breaks. Don't overwork yourself while you're working from home. Do not spend the entire day in front of the computer. It's important to take a few 15 minutes breaks. It's also important to take your full lunch hour. But these breaks should be away from the computer. Try to get out your house, go outside, get some sun, stretch, spend the breaks relaxing and enjoying it to the fullest. Try to avoid using your breaks to probably catch up on TV shows, doing some chores, or taking a nap. Because this will, if you start to do that, then you find yourself finding it hard to go back to your work routine. Or you might say, okay, just 5 more minutes. I'll just take an extra 5 minutes, and that 5 minutes will turn into an hour, and then you'll find yourself with a day that's wasted and you haven't accomplished all that you wanted to do. Create a balance and stay focused. So the truth is, you're working from home, and home is where your safe haven or comfort spot is. So you must be able to balance home life with work life, because now they're sharing the same space and same environment. It's important to stick to your structure routine. Know when your work ends and then when home life begins. So So you're working from this hour to that hour, and then after that time, it's time for your family, it's time for your children, for your home life. Maintain your daily routine after work daily routine as much as possible. So things that you used to do after work, maybe you go exercise, you go shopping, or you spend time with your children, you take them somewhere. Trying to maintain whatever routine, whether it's in the morning or in the afternoon, as much as possible. Being able to stay focused is also going to be difficult. As I said before, you're going to want to use your time to do different things around the house. You're going to also have to share your time to deal with younger children, online schooling. This has kind of shifted a bit. The children were able to go back out. Most of the children were able to go back out for face-to-face learning, but before they had to share your space with your child doing online schooling or younger child not being in daycare. So that would have taken away your focus from working from home. Avoid turning on a TV. As I said, I try to hide the remote or put it in the next room. Avoid taking calls or responding to messages that are not work related. These are just distractions and it will just pull you away. Avoid visitors and social media. So these are things that usually shift our focus from what we're doing. If both your home life and work are getting the attention they deserve, whatever you're doing is right for you. Not being able to go to the next slide. It seems to be stuck. So we're having some technical problems.
Can you see the rest of your slides? Even if we can't see, can you see them? Oh, there we go.
That stopped. Okay, so I think I may have to go back. Okay.
While you go back, oh, that's it. That's
There we
it.
go.
Yeah,
Yeah,
oh, you
it
almost
was-
towards the end.
Yeah, it was there.
You're almost towards the end, yeah.
Yeah, it was the end. So it's just summarizing. The adjustment can be challenging and there's no perfect way to get it done. So finding a structured routine for working from home, sometimes what you did today might not work tomorrow and things change or things come up. So it's just important to do what works for you and give yourself a break. Don't beat yourself up all the time about not being able to accomplish all that you need to do. Appreciate the small things that you accomplish each day and be thankful for what you have. Thankful for your family, thankful for your job and being able to work from home, staying safe and healthy. Successfully working from home is a skill, just like programming, designing, or writing. It takes time and commitment to develop that skill. So whether some person is working from home for maybe 6 months or a year, it still requires a skill and some people have not perfected it. It's just important to do what works for you, and over time, you'll create a routine or structure that you can adjust to that works best for you. And that is it.
Well, Kimmy, I'm convicted. I do all your don'ts. Yesterday, I convinced myself I could take a nap between patients.
I know, right?
Yeah, it didn't go very well. But thank you. That information was so eye-opening. You know, we think that there isn't necessarily a methodology for working from home, but you just educated me that I've been doing a lot of bad things like my laundry and watching Loki because the new episode came out yesterday. So I watched that in between my nap. I'm being very honest here. And it was a very frightening episode. So I was discombobulated for the rest of the day because I'm like, what did I just see? So then I had to transition back now to seeing clients and listening to what they say and not wondering, well, is Loki really dead? You know. So I'll do better in the future. Thank you. I'll do better.
Yes, so work in progress.
Yes. So do we have any questions from our listening audience about working from home? Oh, I see some stuff here in the chat. Dr. Vernon has asked that you guys kindly complete the survey. So it's in the chat box. So as soon as we're finished, you can go and fill out our survey. But any questions, just type your questions in the chat box or unmute yourself, and Ms. Parker Fraser will be very happy to answer.
Maybe just thank you very much. First of all, thank you. And I know now why Dr. Ruben selected you to do this training. I could see the responsibility, the commitment, the structure, and then I really like the clarity of your presentation. And I can see that so one of the things is the person that is, I like the idea starting with the why. Yeah, I really like that. I normally we don't think about the why. We think, okay, it's the pandemic and then that's why, that's it. But it could be many other reasons. So I'm really glad about that. But the other part so there's two questions. One is, do you feel like some people are responsible regardless where they are? So if they're working from home, they structure their time to stay committed to working from home. If they're at workplace, exactly the same thing will happen. Yeah. So personality could be an issue. Do you, and this is one of the things I wanted to ask from your experience, whether you think, is that something you have seen happening? Because then people feel like, okay, now my boss is not supervising me, now no one is here, so kind of like freedom, right? For some people, because of personality. So they require to have this structure because they themselves will not be able to structure themselves. Okay, that's one. The other thing I like, so I'll just go, I like when you're saying about dress for the occasion, because I think that's also very important. And the issue of Zoom and Teams and all of those, sometimes people don't open I like to open my camera and I like to be, because the good thing about this work for me is that my dress is, you guys probably seen this advertisement on the man who comes dressed up nice shirt and he's just wearing underwear and say, oh, I thought it was a Zoom, and the family was there, or some people say, I thought it was a Zoom thing, because with the Zoom thing, you only need to dress up, tap up, right? So that's fine if you're wearing your PJs.
I am. Thank you for asking. I am wearing the bottoms of my PJs.
Exactly.
Thank you, Dr. Cayetano.
Exactly. But then you are dressed but you are able to open because you know that part of your work is also how you present yourself.
Definitely.
And so people prefer, I'm not going to be dressed, so because I'm not opening my camera, so no one has to know, and that's it. So I'd like to get your feedback on the dress part, because I'm so glad that you brought that up to the discussion, and see if you think, how do we guide people by emphasizing that? Because if you are going to work, you will have to be available for people, just like you'll be available when you are working from home. So let me get your feedback on those two issues. Thank you.
Okay, so the first issue we were speaking about was being accountable when you're working from home. Well, as you said, yeah, that goes back to the individual and their personality. So knowing that they're a responsible person and that they know that although they're working from home and there's no supervision, that they still have to be accountable for whatever, I guess, their boss requires of them and stuff like that. So if they require to complete a report and stuff like that, and then being home, that might the different distractions and being able to focus might might distract them from being able to do that. But it still goes back down to the person and whether the boss or the supervisor realize that this person is an accountable person, so they don't have to check in, and then the supervisor will know that they have some challenges and then they'll check in or keep reminding them. But that goes down to each person being accountable for themselves. So each person is different. So there are going to be some that would be able to get it done without supervision and some that you might constantly need that supervision. I need this report, I need that. And addressing the part, yeah, because I was supposed to say that although you're working from home, you still have to dress as if you're going into the office, which I'm guilty of doing sometimes. I know you wouldn't show up in your office in your pajamas and stuff. It kind of helps creating that mindset.
I might, Kimmy, but go ahead. Okay, I might.
Create that mindset or gets you motivated too. Although you're home, you actually have to get things done. Yeah, so it's a bit challenging, but it usually helps. And as I say, I'm guilty of not doing that all the time.
Well, yesterday I was in a meeting with disaster management and I was literally lying on the bed. And I said to myself, I was listening, but I said, how inappropriate is this, you know? And I think the longer we go on with these hybrid work models, because I go into the office every Friday and I'm dressed appropriately, or at least I think so. I don't think I'm wearing my pajama bottoms. But it becomes harder and harder to distinguish between home life and work life when you're working from home. And, you know, you just kind of blob it out, like whatever happens. Like, you know, they were doing a presentation, it wasn't interactive. The air conditioning was lovely in the bedroom. So I lay on the bed and I listened, you know. I was very attentive, but I think it becomes more and more difficult as it winds on and you have less opportunity to go into work. I think that's when it starts getting wonky. So, you know, maybe going in once a week and touching bases and reminding yourself that you are an adult who's adulting and working might be helpful. So I will sit at the table from now on for my webinars. Thank you, Kimmy. Any other questions or comments from our listening audience?
Hi, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
I do have a question. In terms of balancing working from home with a small child, a 4-year-old, what strategy can you offer to balance an active, very active 4-year-old while you are talking with clients on the phone and they're constantly craving your attention?
For me, that was a challenge with my daughter. The only thing is, she the only child at home. There are no other children. Because what I usually do, try to find different activities or different things that they enjoy that try to keep their attention at that time. Although the attention might not last for the period of time that I need, I try to engage them in something that might keep their attention and then try to stop what I'm doing and try to give them some of my time. So balancing in and out my time with them and then putting them back to engage in some activity that I know that they might enjoy doing. So it's kind of like a back and forth, pausing from what I'm doing. So that's kind of what I found worked for me. As I said, it's going to be different, each child different. So I'm not sure.
What I would add to that, Kaya, is whatever the schedule is at your daughter's preschool, it might be helpful to try to replicate that at home. Most preschools have a nap time. So maybe scheduling some of your client contacts during nap time. I don't know how long nap time lasts for, but the issue is when they go to school, it's like a nonstop activity fest. You know, they have morning devotion, then there's some kind of activity, they're running crazy outside, they have lunch, they take a nap. And so if you could replicate, not all, but some of that, I think it would be easier for your daughter to maintain that routine. And then sometimes you just got to give up the ghost. You just, she's 4. Impulse control is not her strong suit. So it's going to be very challenging with a child that little.
All right, thank you. Right now is nap time, so we can attend this seminar without interruption. So yes, thanks for your suggestion. And I think that works as well most times, but there are the exceptions sometimes when you least expect it. So I just wanted to know, like, really, how do you balance all of that? So thank you very much, Mrs. Parker and Dr. Bean.
You're welcome.
And maybe thanks, may I? Okay, because I think this is an excellent question, and I know both answer correctly. But if I remember in the last, or the slide before the last, Mrs. Parker, you did mention about being flexible and not to be so rigid. I thought that was a very good point that you made. The thing about when you have a home, when you have kids, at the beginning of the pandemic, people were saying, but remember, we are intruding on their space. This is their space. And you say that, okay, in my house, I have my living room, I have a space, and I try to make sure they understand this is the why. And I like that if we continue working on that premises, the fact that why am I doing that? And then your child, you want to create the same structure for them as much as possible, that just like what Dr. Rubin was saying, well, we have a structure. If they were at home, if they were at work, at school, they would not be there. But if they're there, this may happen. And then of course you have accidents. The thing that I will also want to add to that is that if you're with your team and your team knows your family structure, your team probably, I have been in meetings where some of the team members they would say the child is under the table, or so please don't, I be doing some homework, and that's why I'm keep moving, because they're doing some work and I just want to be able to make sure that they're doing what they need to be doing. So people sometimes, depending on the relationship, they will say, but I want, my attention is here, but I have a little one that I need also to be looking at. And I had this other colleague, has 2 kids, and one kid is really structured, the other kid is not that structured, and then there's clashes. And so she will tend to keep one closer, and the other one, because it's more structured, can be in the room. I mention those things because then, even though the child is structured, sometimes will come and say, Mom, can I take your attention, please? And she will say, 1 minute, because I'm in a meeting. You see, I'm in a meeting. And so we all can see that. But I like the flexibility, and I like how the team is understanding of that. And what that does is for you as the individual to know that you can still remain committed to what you're doing and still enjoy what you're doing. Because if you're not doing it correctly, it increases your, and we didn't touch on that, but doesn't that increase your level of stress? you become more, burnout. And so it's important to have that balance. So this is why I think this is such an interesting session in terms of creating that balance. So otherwise, at the end of the day, you're really tired and you're just stressed out if you don't create that balance that you were talking about. So just wanted to bring that, the flexibility, because you had mentioned that during your presentation. Perhaps you have other questions. I don't want to take over. Thanks. There's a chat too, right? If people didn't want to talk and just wanted to write their questions. Yeah, I think there's a chat option.
Any other questions? Anybody wants something to contribute? Maybe a tip that we haven't considered in the presentation? Just a gentle reminder, if you look in the chat box, there'll be a link to the survey that we kindly ask that you complete at the end of this session. So if you click on the chat box, Dr. Vernon has already linked it there. Some of you may have already done it. If you have, thank you very much. So no questions from anybody?
We have 19 people join. It will be great to know how many people are still working, can say are still working from home, and some are still, we didn't do a polling, but it'd be good to know how many, what's the percentage of people that are doing hybrid or you doing only working from home, only teleworking. Because that will also help us to know whether these sessions, how useful, because I find it very useful, your session, very, very useful. Thank you. And I like the honesty from Dr. Ruben.
They're Mickey Mouse pajamas, Dr. Cayetano. They're Mickey Mouse pajama bottoms.
Oh.
With the work top.
And the work top.
Yes.
And makeup and yeah.
That's right. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. That's the part that I sometimes struggle with. Like I still have to, rush to make sure the hair and everything. But then after that, I agree with you. Shirts and Mickey Mouse PJs. Yeah.
That's right.
And you present yourself. So let's see how many people are there working. Teleworking. Okay, Denise. Oh yeah, I'm working from. So there's a chat from Denise, which I really like. Yeah, I'm working. Okay, teleworking from me.
Hi. So I just wanted. Hello.
Hi.
You can hear me?
Yes, we can.
Yes, yes.
Oh, okay. So yeah, so that was really a very good presentation, Kimberly. Excellent. And I think the part that I wanted to, relate to is the need to do the balance. And maybe Dr. Ruben can speak to this, but I find that with the working from home, to me, it appears that individuals become more intrusive because they feel that they can just schedule you for meetings at any time. Somehow or the other, you're more available because you're working from home. And I find I don't know if it's me, but I'm beginning to feel that we need some sort of training and ethics around how we really manage this working from home, between employers and employees, so that we don't create stress for employees, and especially in situations where we haven't properly defined what the working from home should be looking like. What's the arrangement around that? What's the expectations from the workplace? And then we seem to be wanting to just capture persons' time, in forever meetings. So I find that to be a new challenge. The other thing in terms of tips, I was reading recently something about 15 top things that high achievers do. And apparently, so the to-do list, and Dr. Rubin, I asked you about this too. The to-do list, right? There's now this thinking that you shouldn't have a to-do list, but put whatever you want to do on a calendar. So put it in as an appointment so that then you don't create to-do lists that are unrealistic. So I have that problem. So I found that tip interesting because the to-do list can have on 20 things and you think you're supposed to do the 20 things in one day. So I don't know if Dr. Rubin or Kim can speak to those two thoughts.
So to address your first very astute observation about working from home etiquette, I think there's a lot of anxiety that people assume because you're not at home that you're not being productive. And so there is this urgency to say that we're doing something. And if we're all in a meeting and looking at each other's faces on Zoom, then we have verification that we are working. And you're right, it's maddening. And I have very firm boundaries because I can't be a clinician and be in 1,000 meetings all at the same time. So if I don't delegate, I just don't go because it's just near impossible. And when you look comparatively at your workday in the office, you wouldn't have that many meetings. So why are we trying to have 15 meetings in one day? And the issue for me is the duplication of services by various agencies. That's what I was trying to tell you guys last Tuesday. Like, I can only do one agency at a time because I have other things going on. So I think it is born out of this anxiety that people will perceive me as being less productive if I am at home. And so there's this need to have evidence-based data that you actually did do something. So I am very good at saying no and pushing back and saying, this is too much. Why are we meeting in the meeting? Because the reality is I'm not listening. I've already been burnt out on meetings and I've checked out for my own mental health. So are we really getting what we need to get out of these meetings? So there's that. In terms of the to-do list, I actually do make calendar appointments. Otherwise, I won't remember to do nothing, because if the devices don't alert me that something is happening, I can't remember. I haven't been able to remember things since Maria. I don't know if that is, yes, I do know. I'm a psychologist. It's a byproduct of the storm. I have selective amnesia. So I have to write everything down in my diary. But in order to counteract me not reading the diary, I also schedule appointments in my calendar so that they will alert me. I am very realistic about what I can and cannot do because I am very attuned to when my brain is tired. So on any given day, I may have 2 things to do on my to-do list. And if I get one done, it was a good day. It just was a good day. And I'm not gonna beat myself up. I no longer have a desire to be one of the Avengers. So I'm just okay with being me and just, maintaining a consistent level of productivity. And for me, that's 2 tasks per day. Sometimes I do more, depending on what's happening. Sometimes I do more. So I hope that answers your question. Kim, you want to add anything to that? She's like, no.
No, that was
Okay, all right. So in the chat box, there are a lot of people who are doing hybrids, but most people are working from home still. So we could benefit from these tips. Figure out how we're gonna make our pajama bottoms work with our earrings and stuff like that. But I think the most important thing is that I think this is probably our new normal. I was just reading the New York Times article on the resurgence, well, not the resurge, the Delta variant is new. The Delta variant of the virus, we know what's happening here in the Virgin Islands right now. We've had a surge in our cases. And if we don't get a grip on what's happening, we'll probably all be working from home again. So, things keep changing. You can't predict what's going to happen next. States in the United States of America were starting to ease their mask restrictions. Now the CDC is saying even vaccinated people should be wearing it because this Delta variant is like a ninja and a samurai all together. So, anything that we can do to stay ahead of a rapidly changing environment is all good for our mental health.
Great.
Dr. Rubin, I would like to suggest that you have this session here for policymakers and the bosses in various workplaces, because I don't get the sense that that level of authority is really understanding of this dynamic of working from home and the challenge that it really creates for employees. And my fear is, especially now with this new surge that we're seeing, that we know is going to get out of control, right? Because we've
Yes.
predicted that, right? And persons are going to have to go back. I'm concerned that people are it's going to break persons. Persons are not going to cope because, there was this expectation that, oh, we're doing well, we're opening up the country. And now I suspect we may have to go back. So, and the whole work from home, I don't get the sense, even at the Health Services Authority, that we sat down and figured out the logistics of working from home and how we support our employees. So now that it's coming up again, I think it's going to be a challenge. So I believe.
Well, Dr. Samuel, that's if we survive the crisis, that a lot of people are going to be sent home without pay.
Oh, well, don't even talk about it.
Right. So unvaccinated people, I think the looming crisis is that unvaccinated people are now recognizing that, the charity has run out. I was informed today that Walmart has now made it mandatory for all their employees to be vaccinated. So the writing is on the wall, yet I'm being inundated with messages from people trying to explain to me why they don't want to be vaccinated. And I'm like, okay, I hear you. I hear your concerns. I recognize it's a personal choice, but I cannot mitigate the consequences. I'm not quite sure what you want me to do. So right now, people are saying, well, they're gonna find another job. And my question to them is, where? Where are you gonna go? Because
Right.
more and more private businesses are going to start requiring this as mandatory. So so now reality is starting to intrude, and the wardrobe and Narnia ain't working out as they thought it would, and people are starting to panic. I see that as the bigger crisis right now.
And Dr. Remain, remind the people that text you that under the labor code, businesses are required to maintain healthy workplaces.
Right.
And in this era of COVID, it means that people at the workplace need to be vaccinated.
Yes. I do remind them, but it's really hard to reason with people who are not using sound evidence-based data to make informed decisions. So I don't know where to grab it. I can't go to Narnia with them. I live here on planet Earth. I'd like to go through the wardrobe, but I can't. And so I think the reality is starting to hit people. I've been telling my staff it's just a matter of time. Let's be proactive. We got AstraZeneca. My best friend, her two sisters worked on AstraZeneca over in Europe. We don't want to end up with Sinopharm or Sinovac. I mean, sorry, Dr. Cayetano, but I have an opinion about that. So while we have access, let's utilize like the top dog. And then that's going to be the other crisis when people finally realize that they have to take the vaccine. They're not going to have options. Man, you can't win for trying with this one. This is like the perfect storm of like psychotic breaks on the horizon. Yeah. So I think, we should replicate this this presentation, but I think we have a bigger crisis at hand right now.
You mean the bigger crisis with possible unemployment? Is that what you?
Yeah, well, people face
Which bottom
reality
line,
of
which
that.
actually again hinders people mental health. I mean, we always have to see how that affects you in terms of your ability to make decisions. And this vaccine hesitancy is unfortunate because I'm seeing it even from professionals that you think, oh, you know, people they need informed decisions. Sometimes even that people still say no. And I think, but ultimately, I like what you were saying, that it does hinder your performance, affect your family, affect your livelihood, and it's about survival at the end of the day, right? If you're going to be, if you want to stay well, you want to bring you know, the bread, and if you are the, I guess, the breadwinner in your family and those things matter, you need to make decisions that are going to make an impact for your own mental health. That ultimately that's what it will come to at the end.
Yes,
So,
yes, absolutely. So now people are having to make those types of decisions under duress. Do I feed my children? Do I continue to send them to school? Do I continue in extracurricular activities? Do I continue to pay my mortgage? And the reality is most people don't have 6 months of savings anywhere, you know, 6 months of living expenses saved anywhere. A lot of us live paycheck to paycheck. And I think that our government here created such a bubble. People actually, I don't think they believe that this virus is real and it could kill people. That's my working hypothesis. So now that consequences, real consequences are coming in, now people have to make decisions under stress and duress. And we know that's usually not the best way to make decisions.
unfortunately.
Yeah. So we're going to continue to pray to God, and we're going to hope that He intervenes and He helps people to make good decisions before July 3rd. When is July 3rd, guys? Is that 2 days from now?
Saturday.
Right. So
So
Saturday is the last day here in the BVI that you can get your first dose of vaccine.
Oh, so I guess the next topic would be effective strategies for keeping your work. Like, you know.
Yes. How do I
But-
stay employed during
And to
COVID-19?
stay employed during COVID, definitely. So this was great. Maybe the message has to really go there for people to understand that, because you will have increase your consultation without no boundaries, Dr. Samuel. Saturday, Sunday.
No, with Dr. Ruben keeping boundaries, so we ain't doing that.
No, we're not doing that. No. No, we're not doing that. No.
We have a blackout here in Washington. This some surge, some weather thing. That's why it's kind of dark.
In Washington, D.C.?
Yes, ma'am.
In the 10 years that I lived in America, the power went off once for 3 seconds.
It
And I almost
happens.
had a heart attack.
There is a horrible storm passing.
Oh, yes. You guys have had a lot of rainstorms.
Yeah.
I hope it
That's
comes
what
back
happened.
soon.
We have some, it's okay for now. I still have my internet. So this was a great meeting. When is our next webinar?
2 Thursdays from now.
Can we put that there on the chat so that we can encourage people to attend?
2 Thursdays from now. And the topic is, Shanike or Kaya, what's the topic again? Remind me.
Thursday.
How to communicate effectively with clients and staff.
Right. So that's Sister Thomas's last topic from this series. And it's going to be a good one. So we encourage everybody to attend.
Thursday 15?
Yes, ma'am.
Same time. Okay. Please join. Great.
And please don't forget to fill out the survey that's located in the chat box. Dr. Vernon has posted it there. As soon as we conclude, you can go and click on the link.
Thank you.
I see we have Sister Thomas here. Sister Thomas, welcome. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you, Dr. Rubain. I was listening to the conversation. I'm here, I'm listening to you guys talking about the vaccine. We had a meeting this morning and the vaccine was a big concern. We were talking about what can we do internally in our organization to motivate, especially the nursing staff to get the vaccines. And we were talking about interventions we can do otherwise to assist in the organization and bring more awareness. We have a situation in the BVI, as everyone knows, and it's gonna get a little worse for us. We're gonna have some different news by later on, and I know the news is gonna change.
Oh my
So
God.
for that reason, we're gonna keep emphasizing the need for the vaccine and the need for everybody to be vaccinated. We're not sure about the people who want to go home, Dr. Rubain, and those who don't want to have a job anymore. We don't know how they will live, but we hope the nursing staff especially who are looking to leave us. And where do you go? We don't know, but the COVID you're gonna meet out there where you're going just the same.
It's true. It's true. There's
So
nowhere to run.
they're thinking about going to, but they're also gonna meet COVID out there just the same way. So we'll see what happens. But I'm here. I'm sorry. We have more than one webinar going on, more than one session. So I think that's why most of my team is not on. I apologize for that. Because when I'm calling them, they tell me they're listening to another webinar somewhere else.
Okay.
So I'm happy to be here. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you. Thank you
Having
for
me.
all of these wonderful topics. And next week will be especially good because we'll find out how to effectively communicate, take the blasted vaccine to the staff.
I know. This one, yeah, I understand. Thank you.
Thank you, sister.
All right.
Well, Dr. Cayetano, that takes us more than past the hour.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I want to thank Mrs. Parker Fraser for her wonderful, enlightening, delightful presentation. I also want to thank Paho, Dr. Cayetano, and Dr. Vernon. I also see Dr. Julie Xavier is on as well.
Yes.
Thank you guys for all your support. We have one more webinar to do as a team on July 15th, effective communication. My team will be presenting again, Mrs. Kaya Huggins McKenzie and Ms. Shanike James. It's going to be fabulous. Please spread the word. We're going to have the link soon and the advertisement so that you can send to other parties so that they can participate.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Dr. Ruben. Thanks, Dr. Samuel. Thanks, Mrs. Parker. Fabulous session.
Thank you. Everybody have a wonderful rest of your day.
You
Bye.
too.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you.
Listen, mechanic, they just called me. I don't know how long I'll be, so if you don't see me, I'll get 1 minute later. What happened? What's wrong with your face?
Sometimes I don't know what happened in my face, but mechanic. I thought I see your car downstairs.
Yeah, someone ran into me, so I have to go get an estimate.
Darn.
They just called me and told me to come back.
All right, ma'am.
All right, bye.
Bye-bye.